it's your girl Dom, and welcome to the Kickback Live. Today I have two exciting new messages. The first one is that we are starting to do all of our kickbacks live. So you guys are gonna get the opportunity to sign up to attend a live kickback every other Friday where me and special guests will come and answer you guys' questions. The second message is that my family and I started a scholarship fund. This fund is going to reward 4 students with $1,000, but in order to sign up, you have to attend a kickback live, and at the end of the live, I'm going to be releasing the link to the scholarship in the chat box. Next Friday, December 11th, our live is going to be so cool. I'm having myself and other Ivy League students break down our common application. So we'll be reading our essays, our supplements, extracurriculars, our resumes, all that jazz. So make sure you guys come so that you can get all the tea on the common application process. In the description box, you can find the link in order to come to these lives. Today's live is just a Q&A. Students asked me and my special guest, Queen Star, who's very knowledgeable on financial aid and the common application process. They asked us some questions. So enjoy the video today and comment down below which topics you would like us to do in future lives and any special guests you would like to see. Hello! How is everybody doing? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello. I'm just adding everybody in. I wanted to give everyone a few minutes to join. Awesome. We're getting some yeses. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see all these faces and pictures. I'm sorry we're starting a little late. I just wanted to make sure that we had time for everybody to join. I'm so excited to have everybody here. Feel free to leave your camera on or off. It's up to you. But if you can please keep your voices muted, unless you have a question, that'd be super helpful. So if everybody can remain on mute, thank you. Just make sure. I'm going to give a few more minutes to see if anybody else is joining. And while we're waiting to see if more people are going to join, can you go ahead and go to the chat and say which school is your #1 choice? I want to see what we're working with. So you can go ahead and put in what your top choice is. I see some Penns. Okay. Columbia, Princeton. Okay, Howard. Awesome. Duke. We have some diversity. Lovely. Yale. Okay, cool. So yay, it's so nice to have everybody here. We have some more people coming in, so I'm just going to keep adding people. But basically what this Kickback Live is about is it's a chance for me to finally get to talk to you guys, get a chance to answer some of you guys' questions and tell you guys a little bit about myself. I usually film other people, so I don't really get a chance to showcase myself to you guys and get to talk to you guys one-on-one. So I thought this would be a cool opportunity to do that. And I receive a lot of questions from you guys, and as much as I want to be able to respond to everyone, I'm a student as well, so I have a lot to do usually and can't dedicate as much time as I would like to respond to each person. So I wanted to be able to through voice and to finally get to see you guys' faces and talk to you guys. So that's what this is kind of about today. So what I'm going to do is I think we can start now. I'm going to turn off this waiting room real quick. And then I have a little presentation to show you guys. And then we're just going to jump into some questions and answers. So hold on 1 second. I'm going to turn off the waiting room. Okay. We should be good. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. And if somebody can just say yes in the chat to let me know if you can see the screen, that would be awesome. So can you guys see this welcome screen right now? Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. So welcome, guys. Again, this is the Kickback Live with me. So first, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about myself so you can get to know me. And if there's ever any times where there's some pausing from my Wi-Fi, please let me know and I can repeat myself. Also, if you have any questions throughout this whole presentation, you can leave it in the chat and I'll address in the questions and answers. Or if you want to raise your hand later and use the raise hand function, then I can answer questions later as well. Cool. Okay, so first, this is a little bit about me. I'm a person who enjoys life and tries to live it to the fullest. I'm all about maximizing every moment because you don't know when it could be your last moment. So I'm all about trying to make sure that life is enjoyable and fun. But a fun fact is that I actually used to be insanely introverted. I would not speak. I was the type to never order food. My mom would order it for me. I didn't speak in class. I didn't have many friends because I didn't speak up. And now I run a YouTube channel where I talk to tons of people, and I found my passions and my interests over time, which are videography and mentorship, as I'm sure you guys know through my YouTube channel, but I also love fashion, photography, and traveling. So throughout school, going back to high school, I did many extracurriculars, which I can talk about more in depth after I finish this little blurb. But I did track and field, volleyball, and also soccer. And then I was a part of plenty of clubs, such as Key Club, Multicultural Club, National Honor Society, Math League, and then also ran a non-for-profit called the Do What We Can Project. I'm Jamaican and Canadian. So what this project basically did was bring around 30 people to Jamaica to help build houses for the poor, and then also help at clinics and give a ton of medicine to clinics and soccer equipment to schools. So just really trying to help my home country as they're going through a lot, and I just want to make sure I give back. So that's something I did in high school. And I was also a part of youth court, which is where anyone from ages 13 to 18, I believe, help to give punishments to any kid that got arrested that's younger than 18. So it's basically giving them a second chance before going to adult court or to a real court. They come to youth court, and we learn all about sanctions and about how the law works. So that is some of the stuff I was a part of as a high schooler. I'm sure some of you guys relate to some of that, and some of that you probably never heard of. So of course I can talk about some of those more after I continue my little slideshow. My next segment is about my YouTube channel, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, watched, or maybe this is your first time. But basically, I go to the University of Pennsylvania, and it's a historically white institution. And as a Black student, I realized that there's not a lot of people at the school who look like me or also displayed on social media. And so I wanted to be able to create a platform where people who look like me and other minorities and just diversity as a whole can go and see that they can achieve top universities as well, that they can get in as much as anyone else. And to also be able to showcase it in a fun way and give you guys short little videos that are fun but educational, and be able to take away a lot from each video. So yeah, I want to make sure that the doors that were open for me are opened even wider for you guys and anyone else applying in the future. So that's basically what my channel is about. I have 70,000 subscribers, which I'm super excited about, and also around 95 videos. So yeah, that's a little bit about my YouTube channel and the direction that it's pointed in currently. And then a little bit about my experience at UPenn. So I'm majoring in economics with a double concentration in data analytics and entertainment and media management, which I actually built that concentration myself. So at UPenn, you can build concentrations in the Wharton School of Business if you're looking into Wharton. But yeah, so I realized that there was a concentration missing within entertainment, and that's where I decided to target because I love it. And also my sister attended Wharton, which she's in this picture to your right. And I was like, after I dropped her off her freshman year, I knew this is where I wanted to go to school. It was endgame. It was beautiful. It was amazing. She had such a great time. And I've had a great time since I've been there. Some of the clubs that I'm a part of is Black Wharton Consulting, and also Penn Fashion Collective, which I can talk about more in depth if anyone would like to hear more about it, or just about clubs at school in general. But clubs is where most people find their best friends and learn a lot from each club at any school, Penn included. But I do think Penn is the best Ivy. So if you're going to apply to the Ivy Leagues, I think you should definitely look into Penn. If you like the work hard, play hard environment, but also the urban environment too, because I think that the school really balances that very well. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and basically what we can go into now is just literally any questions you guys have. It can be about schools. I've traveled to a ton of different schools, as you guys know. So I can touch on other Ivies. I can touch on Penn, about YouTube, about me, anything you would like to know. I would love to be able to address you guys' questions. So if you want to use the hand raise function, or if you want to just leave a question in the chat and I can read the questions, up to you. So yeah, so I see one question right now of how do you start the non-for-profit? So basically how I started it was first finding something that was needed. So my sister and I actually co-founded it together years back. So she kind of started it and then I followed in her footsteps and expanded on it. So what we did was we realized that there was a need for something and it happened to be in Jamaica. And we messaged a ton of different churches, is how we did it, and asked them if they needed volunteers, how we could work with them to potentially be able to help a community, if they knew specific communities that needed help, or specific people, because obviously I don't live in Jamaica, so I don't know exactly which communities needs the most help. And we found a church and a priest there that helped, and he found people that needed help, and therefore we knew we were giving help to people that actually deserved it and needed it. And through that partnership with the church, we created this 4-year long partnership where every year we would go directly to the church compound, stay with the pastor and his wife, and they would help provide housing and food. And then we would go do whatever tasks we had that year. So the first year, we would go down and bring a ton of different soccer equipment to high schools nearby the church. And from there we expanded. And the next year we ended up building houses for the poor. So me and people at my high school did fundraising events such as soccer games. We did baked good sales, all different types of events to just get money to be able to go down to Jamaica and work with Jamaicans, construction workers, to make sure we're helping the people. And then we completely from the ground up, and I'm telling you guys, like 8 hours a day in the hot sun, we stood out there and just built houses for the poor. And it was the best experience ever. It was a lot of work, but it was amazing. And that's kind of how I was able to do it, was finding people that need help, finding a person there that was willing to help, and then just start fundraising and get more people to be involved. And I got a lot of my friends, I got my vice principal to go, a ton of teachers. So that's kind of how I was able to start that and continue it for 4 years. Amazing. So let's see. I have a lot of questions here. Could you talk more about your experience applying to and interviewing for Penn, and any advice you have for the supplemental essay? Of course, yeah. So my experience applying was basically my senior year was only applying. That's really all I did. So schoolwork, of course, got done, but I would try to get my schoolwork done at school, and then homework at home was only applications. And how I did it was hitting one school at a time, and giving maybe each school. I started very early also, like probably in the summer of my senior year is when I started. In each school, I would dedicate maybe around 3 weeks to just that school's application. So I'd read the essay options, and each essay, let's say for the supplement that you need 20 words to answer this question, I would probably start with a good sized paragraph, and then over maybe 4 days, dedicate to that one question and get it down to 20 words, because you only have 20 words to showcase an answer that's different than everyone else's. You want to make sure each answer is different, but with choosing a different answer, you want to make sure that you're being honest. And I think it was Columbia asked me, how many books have you read in the past year, and what's the name of the books? I don't really read, in all honesty. I'm more of a watcher and like a filmer. So I talked to my mom. I was like, should I lie and say that I've read books this year that I actually read like 3 years ago? And she told me this tip that was amazing, that if this school isn't for you, their questions probably won't be targeted to you. So you shouldn't lie and get accepted to a school that's not looking for somebody like you. So if I said I read and they want a ton of readers at their school, then I probably won't fit in, and I probably won't like it there, and I'll be around a lot of kids that don't like things like me. So I think making sure to tell the truth is important. And I didn't get into Columbia, and it's okay. But that probably wasn't the fit for me. So making sure that you spend time on each section and dedicate hours to these applications, guys, because this is what's setting you apart is your words. Like, of course, every person applying to these top universities you guys listed at the beginning are smart. So they all have good GPAs. Everybody did their AP tests. Everybody did good on their SATs. Now, this is your chance to set yourself apart and explain who you are in a fun type of way that's unique. So yeah, so that's kind of the tip that I would give for the Common App applications with the supplements. So the next question is, I'm a high school junior and I feel that I've not done enough extracurriculars compared to any other students, so any recommendations? Good question. I would say from my perspective, it's not how many extracurriculars you do, it's that you're a pointy student. And what I mean by that is that, for instance, from what I just shared with you guys of my extracurriculars, is that I tried to do things that were helping people. So Youth Court gave people a second chance before they went to an adult court. So we helped them by giving them, from being around youth and getting sanctions that were a little bit nicer than if they went to adult court, was to help them. Also, my Jamaica mission trip was to help Jamaicans. I also started the Shy Club, which I didn't bring up before, but because I was super introverted and I learned how to use my voice, I wanted to be able to do something similar for other kids at my school. So I started this club to help people. So it's not a ton. I don't have a ton of extracurriculars, but it's all directed in one path. So let's say you're interested in music. Instead of doing sports and doing all this other stuff that has nothing to do with music, what you could really do is hound down onto your music and become a pointy student, to where maybe you don't have a ton, but you really excelled in your one thing that you're passionate about, if that makes sense. So yeah, so if you feel like you're behind, you don't have that many, I would take the thing you're passionate about. And again, look at what I'm doing now. I'm here on a Zoom with a ton of students helping them. That's what I'm passionate about. So I don't do a ton of clubs at Penn, but I give my all to my YouTube because that's the one thing that I really like. And that's what sets me apart from a student who does 30 different extracurriculars. And I think that's what the schools want to see, because they're trying to make a community, right? So they're trying to craft this 10,000 group of people who are all different in their own ways. And by you showcasing on your Common App that you're pointy student, that you really, really are good at this one thing, that's what they want to see. Awesome. So another question is, what is the best way to know a school without being able to visit in person? And that's a perfect question for what's going on nowadays. I would say, obviously using social media and YouTube, not even like trying to shout myself out, but using my videos or other students' videos is a great way to be able to see the school without actually getting to visit. But I do think that even reaching out to people, what you could do is go onto Instagram and like look up that school's Instagram and look at the followers and find students that go to the school, and just asking them what do they think about the school is something that I did. Was just, I messaged Penn students. I'm like, hi, I'm looking at applying. They might not have a YouTube channel. They might not have a ton of followers, but like, what do you like about your school and what don't you like? And kind of asking them what the pros and cons are. And they probably, if they're not like an influencer or don't have a ton of Instagram followers and stuff, they probably will be more likely to respond than somebody that is receiving a lot of questions and has a hard time at responding to everyone. So just asking them, and their opinion is as valuable as anyone else. So I would take time, reach out to some people, even ask to have a Zoom call and like, hey, can you tell me about the school? Or like, do you mind showing me like videos that you might have taken on campus so I can get a better feel of what the campus life actually looks like? I would say that's a great way. So taking advantage of Instagram, and all of you guys have Instagram because I messaged you this on Instagram. So I know that all of you guys have it and know how to use it. So that definitely is a way that I would say that you can do.
My keyboard doesn't work, so can I ask my question like verbally?
Yeah, go ahead.
So they're just two like shorter questions. The first one is, what's the most like medicine affiliated Ivy from your perspective?
Yeah. I would say, based off of all the people I've met and what I've heard from word of mouth, I would say Columbia, and also Penn has #1 nursing. So I would say Penn. I'm basically going to plug Penn for everything. But yeah, definitely Penn, but I do know Columbia does as well. And I'm pretty sure Yale has good medicine. So yeah, I would definitely look into those.
Okay, and my second question, I don't know if you've heard of this, but do you know something called early college?
College. I haven't.
Yeah. You basically, so for your junior and senior year, you take college classes at a local college rather than take high school classes. And
Okay.
I've heard that Ivies don't really prefer that. They like you to kind of like suck your high school dry. And I've heard from others that it makes you stand out. So what do you think they might look at it as?
So I would say mine wasn't called early college, but I did have basically the chance to take courses from my local community college, but still counted towards both. It was actually dual high school and college credit.
Right.
Penn did not look at that at all. They did not care like at all. I know they take for certain electives 5s on APs, but other than that, to them, it's like pretty much even. It doesn't really matter from what I know. Of course, I don't know exactly what they're thinking, but I know if anything, it's going to make you look better on your application because you did it, but it's not going to necessarily set you apart because some kids are coming from some of the best private schools in the country, and then other kids are coming from lower public schools. So it's like everybody's kind of already uneven to where I don't think it'll necessarily completely set you apart. I do think your comment application, essays, and supplements actually do really set you apart. And that's more where you want to dedicate a lot of time into.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I butt in for a second.
Of course.
Basically, I take classes. So basically, my senior year, I've basically knocked down like freshman, sophomore credits. But I know for Ivy League, especially like Harvard and stuff like that, they don't really care for the credits. They don't. You have to make sure that it's transferable in the college you're going to because not all schools take the thing. Someone said in the chat. It is true. Early college and dual enrollment are two different things. Dual enrollment is where you can go to high school and take college, but early college means that you can actually leave high school and actually do college.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Good point. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Where are you from? Maybe it's a thing where you're from.
I'm from New York City.
Okay, and I'm from upstate. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm very upstate New York.
I'm from Florida, and we have the same kind of system that she just talked about.
Yeah. Oh yes, but I heard Florida's harder. Ours is really easy. I heard from.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
But something to notice is that community college in every state and in every city is different. So what you're going to find is that maybe English 101 in Florida at a Florida community college is very different from an English 101 in a New York City community college. And so I think a lot of schools know that and might be a little bit hesitant to take those. They will take those credits, but they feel a little more uneasy taking that because it is so even across different community college and across different dual credit programs across the country. The one thing is that every single person who takes an AP test is taking the same test regardless of what state they're in. And I think that's why a lot more colleges are comfortable with AP than they are comfortable with dual credit. And that's the only drawback. But definitely at the end of the day, definitely takes what's more comfortable to you. But for me, working in the education space, that's what I've realized is that because it is so uneven in different states, different community colleges have different education styles compared to AP, where every single student, regardless of what state or country they're in, is taking the same AP test at the same time. It's very different. So that's just something to keep in mind. And hopefully that helps your decision when you're deciding what to do. So I'm going to be quiet now.
No, please feel free. Queen Star's amazing. Everyone, this is Queen Star. Please feel free to hop in. She's going to help me. Cool. So I'm going to go to another question. What is the best way to know a school without being to visit? Okay, we did that. Around what number should your high school statistics be at, which would be a good area for an Ivy League? This is a great question. And my mind during high school was on my SAT, and that's it. That's all I did was practice SATs. And coming to the school, I've met a lot of people who actually did not, those like cutoffs when you go on Google and it says This is the SAT that Harvard wants. This is the SAT that Yale wants. A lot of people that I know did not meet that threshold and did not hit the AP scores. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I took like physics AP and got a 1 on the test, and I still applied and I still put my 1 down. Physics was not for me, and I was still able to get in. So I think the numbers and the statistics don't matter as much as it feels like. In my opinion, my mindset was always, I want to perform well on all of the, on obviously GPA, but also like SATs and AP tests. I want to do well so that when I apply, nobody's going to tell me I didn't get in because of a grade. So I wanted just statistics to never be a question. I wanted to not know I didn't get in because of my common application, because of my essays, because of my supplement. So that was more the mindset that I think people should have, is not that you have to kill yourself to get this high SAT score, but more of, it'll feel better to apply and not be worried that you're not going to get in because of it. But at the same time, you 100% can get in with a low score. I know people that have gotten into Yale with a 24 on their ACT, and people have gotten, I got a 30 on my ACT and I was still able to get in. So you don't have to get perfect scores, and don't beat yourself up. Don't kill yourself about it, because it's going to be okay. I do again think the essays, you really have to focus on those essays and make sure you're spending a lot of time writing about yourself, more than any number. Awesome.
Sorry to interrupt, but like, is there like a specific sort of like GPA sort of area you should be at, or like number wise?
So my perspective with GPAs, again, is similar to the other number statistics. I would say, of course, you want to shoot high, because everybody applying is having around a 4.0 for unweighted and around 3.8. But again, I wouldn't beat yourself up. If you can, always try to have all A's. But I do know people that have got accepted that told me they did not have that high of a GPA, or they would consider themselves to be even in the middle of their class. Because a school, when you think about it, right? So the school is trying to formulate communities. They don't want communities that's all valedictorians, because then it's not a community if every person's the same. So they want students that maybe are killing it in extracurriculars and have more of an average GPA because they've dedicated so much time to what they're passionate about. But then they want also students that have high GPAs too. So I'm not saying don't try in school, because grades are very important, and having a high GPA, like I said, that's a clarity of mind. You're not wondering, did I not get in because I had a 3.5 or whatever. But I do think that as long as you're trying your best, trying every test, you leave that test like, I killed it, I did exactly what I needed to do. That's all you can do, is try your best. So don't beat yourself up, but really hounding down on what you're passionate about and writing about that's where I think it's the key.
Okay, one more thing, sorry.
Yeah.
Does it put you at a drawback if your school does not have weighted GPAs, like even if you take AP classes?
Yeah, I don't think so, because mine didn't either. So yeah, I never had that. And I don't think it sets you apart based off of my experience going to a school as well that doesn't. Awesome.
Sorry, can I really quickly ask 2 questions?
Of course.
So going back a few questions, so would you say that like taking college courses, like does it not really have that much of a difference? Because I was considering it, but do you think that it has much of an impact on your application?
I think it does make okay, right? So in my opinion, it does make you look better because you're taking college courses, right? So it's going to look like you're doing more, especially if you do well. You're a high performing student. That's also, remember, we want to show colleges that we are willing to push ourselves. We're willing to try the hardest things at school. You're willing to take AP classes instead of regular classes because you are the type of student who's willing to excel and wants to excel and is doing well at excelling. So I do think it makes you look better by taking it. But what I meant before, I guess, is like when you come, a lot of those credits might not transfer to Ivies. From my experience, because mine didn't, and I still had to retake all of those classes. So I wouldn't take them to be like, oh, I'm going to take it in high school so I don't have to take it when I get to school. Not how it works with most of the classes. You still have to take it. but I think it does make it you look like a high achieving student who is pushing themselves and who wants to excel and is killing it as you're taking college classes in high school.
Okay, and one more question.
Go ahead, please, sir.
Okay, so I go to a private school. Do they look at private schools differently as opposed to public schools? Do you know?
I don't think so. I do know that a lot of private schools are feeder schools. So a lot of the schools will, a lot of students at the campus will come from similar schools, but I know that as a public school student, you definitely are looked at as evenly as private schools, but your school might have crafted you better than, even for my school, my guidance counselor thought I was going to Penn State. Like the students at my school did not go to Ivy Leagues. So it might be different in that realm. It's like you aren't crafted growing up to basically go to an Ivies as private schools might be. But I don't think the Ivy League is itself looking at you different because you go to a private school than public school students. Queen, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, to answer your first question, just to give some context to your first question. So something I've noticed, especially for the people who are in the sciences, if you're interested in like the medical field, STEM, anything, this might apply more to you in that I realized that for a lot of the students who took like AP computer science, AP physics, or even took dual credit, and it was in those fields, what you have to realize is that when you come to college is almost like a sprint in certain classes, in that they're only going to cover those foundational principles within maybe the first 2-3 weeks, and they're moving on into content really quickly. What helps when you're taking advanced courses in high school is that what it's going to take 2 weeks for them to study in college, your AP teacher or your dual credit teacher might take 3 months. So you'll get to college and you realize that some people in the class had taken AP computer science, so they know Java, they might know, what's the other, I don't know, I'm not a STEM person, but like they know Java, they might know coding, all of these things because they took those classes in high school. And so when it was those 2 weeks, this wasn't their first time encountering that thing. It was literally, they were just building on knowledge they already know. And so it does help you in that once you get there, you're hitting the ground running a little faster than actually learning those concepts, those foundational principles once you get to college. So I would highly recommend, especially if you're really interested in STEM, try to take a lot of those foundational things in high school, because I promise you, it's going to make it it's going to help you pace yourself a lot better once you get to college, instead of you feeling like you're like drinking water out of like a fire hose, because it's going to be so much information. So take your time in high school to really take those classes that are going to give you the foundational principles, so that when you get to college, it's a lot easier pace that you can walk into. So I hope that's helpful for you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to go off of that, I wanted to add, based off of what Queen Star just said, I did take a ton of AP classes, and they 100% helped me so much at school because I knew things like Calc 2, already done it, already took the AP test. Did I remember it? Yeah, but I did do it, and I have seen it all before. And there were a lot of students who were my friends who were like, I've never seen this. And just like, Dom, how are you keeping up? I've never done this before. I'm like, I learned it all in high school. So like, they're definitely, like Queen Star was saying, definitely, I would encourage as well to take those classes. Even for Penn, if you're in Wharton, you have to do 2 years of language, and in the college you have to do 2 years, and in the college you have to do 4 years. So even doing AP languages, you can test out if you've taken these college level languages or taken APs. So there's definitely pros to doing it. The credit might not transfer, but the knowledge is stuck with you. So if you've learned it in high school, you probably will excel and find these classes quite manageable.
I have a question from Queen Star.
Hey, what's up?
Is that your name, Queen Star? I don't know.
It's my real name. What's up?
Okay. So basically what you're saying is, even if we take the credits, so say we've been taking it since junior year, I know that it's not going to count towards every Ivy League, but it's going to count to normal colleges. So basically we would have to take those classes again. That's what you're saying?
So what I'm saying is, and this is how you have to think about it, you almost have to think about it as an investment, in that if you have this knowledge now, it makes it easier for you to take, because even if some of the Ivies don't accept it, once you get there, you're going to take those classes again. If they don't accept it, you're taking those classes because they're general ed requirements regardless, right? And so you taking it your junior, senior year makes it a lot easier for you to take your freshman year. That's like an easy A. I'm not going to say an easy A because every school is different, but it's like, it's a higher chance that you're going to do well in that class because you have the foundational knowledge for it. And so that's what I would say is like, regardless whether you get the credit or not, you taking that class will only help you in the future. It will not hurt you. It's almost like, again, like there's nothing that is going to hurt you. There's nothing that is going to help propel you like that investment that you're doing as a high schooler, taking those classes. So don't shy away from it, even if you take it in college. You know what I mean?
I don't mind that, but I know a couple people that I like go to school with. They take AP, they take a bunch of stuff, and say they're going to Ivy League because they want to graduate early, so and so. But then that would be limited if you're going to Ivy League. You wouldn't graduate early; you would have to take the full length. You know? Okay.
Yeah, but that's something you should think about too. Is there's some schools that are just not going to take that because it's almost like, think about it. A school would say, I have a professor who is, you know, the top of their field. They're the top Afro, was that a thing? Afrophysicist? No, it's not. It's astrophysicist, the top astrophysicist in their field. And that's going to be your professor. So would Harvard say, don't take that class and take the class from your teacher who, you know, graduated with a bachelor's in physics. You know what I mean? So that's how the school is thinking about it. Is like, yes, that 5 matters, but you're going to get a lot of context and a lot more, you know, relationship with like a person who's the high of their field, and you're going to get a lot more context that way. So you should almost think about it in that, like, you know, they're also thinking about what value is this education to you. And so it kind of sucks that you have to take another class, but you're better for it because you come in there hitting the ground running.
That's crazy that you said that because the same information you just gave me, my mother has a doctorate in psychology and other degrees, but she told me the same thing too. She was in a position, she did dual classes, and she went to school and they told her it's not transferable. So she's like, oh my God, I did all that for nothing. But she told me that it was easier and that it helped her a lot. And
to kind of go along with that, you have to look at it from the perspective too, where I took like a coding class, like Queen Star kind of brought up. I had no clue because I've never coded, but I had a friend who's been coding from grade 7. So she has been able to kill the class, but then also go and do other extracurriculars, focus on her other clubs, focus on her other classes while I'm still learning how to code. So like, that's another point where now you have freedom to get your A and then also be able to explore whatever the school has to offer, which is so much. But I think the big thing with college is not necessarily that it's not manageable, because the people that get accepted are able to kill it in school, because we all have worked so hard from middle school to be able to do well in school. But the problem is that there's so much to juggle. You want to join every club, your friends are going to new events, you're living with your friends. There's so much going on. So if you can learn it in high school to go to college and already know it, yes, you have to take the class, but you're going to have more time on your hands because you know what you're doing. So yeah, definitely try to take as many classes that are advanced as you can in high school, so college will be easier and more manageable, and you'll have more free time on your hands. So I'm going to do more questions from the chat real quick.
Hi, hello. My name is Mariama. I don't know if you.
Oh no, I think you broke. Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I was planning on majoring in business. So what are things I can do in high school, maybe internships or like mentorships that I can do now that can help me like stand out in the college apps for like a business major?
Hello. Hi. So cute. Yeah, so I would say one thing that I definitely would suggest is to make sure that you are checking for scholarships and internships as a high schooler, because there's actually a lot more than you probably have noticed, especially with scholarships applying to like every single one, because you never know. You might be able to get some money. But to go along with that, what you said is perfect. So like going online, going on LinkedIn and just checking to see what business focused internships they might have or programs that they might have for high school students at many different colleges. It doesn't need to be at an Ivy League, because if you do, let's say, a business program at a different school and then can still put that on your resume, it's going to look good. If you can find a way to start anything and showcase that you have creative skills, but also innovation skills, and just able to manage a team, or it could even be like starting a new club, kind of how I started my Shy Club. Anything like that, I think looks good on your resume, because it's showing that you're creative, that you're thinking outside the box. Anything that can show some analytical skills can help towards business as well. But just, yeah, things like that, that you can sit down, make sure it's something that you're passionate about, like I brought up. So if you're passionate about, let's say, cooking, and you start a cooking club that makes new type of chocolate chips that you bring to high schoolers every single Friday, anything to showcase that you're creative, you're innovating, maybe selling stuff that you are able to look at revenues and look at costs and be able to figure out profits. So stuff like that, but checking online for sure. And I think everyone should be looking up opportunities, especially because we're remote, so you don't even have to move to do them. So if you can have something to add to your resume, like an internship or a program that you can do from your bedroom, given the circumstances, I think that can be helpful too. I'm going to jump to the chat, and I see a question. Could you talk about how you went about doing research for the UPenn essay, making it personal to your passions? And I do think making sure that your essays and supplements are personal, but definitely looking into the school and researching things adds to your application like crazy. And some things that I did was looking up professors and literally going through professors, reading what they've researched, reading what they do, what class they teach, reading about their class. I know for Penn, I don't know about other schools, but they have syllabuses online. So even reading through the syllabus and saying, I love this class. I would love to take this class because XYZ. I love this professor because of their past research and XYZ. I want to go to this school to be able to reach out to this professor. At Penn, again, I can't speak for other schools on this, but we have something where you can take professors to lunch and Penn will pay for it. So it's a really cool thing, which you could add to your essay if you're planning to apply to Penn. But I would love to take this professor to lunch, which you can do at any school, but Penn just pays for it. I'd love to take this professor to lunch and talk to them about XYZ. And that really is gonna make your essay more personalized and show that you've researched the school and that you actually want to attend that school. Also, from my perspective, my sister went, and while she was there, she started this conference called the Black Ivy Conference, which Black students from every single Ivy League comes to Penn once a year, and they all congregate at Wharton and have this massive conference. And to me, a school that was able or allowed a student to be able to create this new traditional conference and be able to support her, give her the funds she needs, was all I needed to hear, that this school is going, all the Ivies, all the top schools are willing to give you money and support if you ask them for help. And that's something that I wrote about because I wanted to create something like I'm doing. I've always had that kind of innovative mindset, entrepreneur mindset. So a school that was able to do XYZ, you can look into programs that students were able to start. You could look into like kind of what I brought up about my sister, look into stuff that each school has done and kind of write, I would love to go to this school because you supported this student do XYZ, and I would love to do this because I'm passionate about this. And it circles into your supplement and your resume of being that pointy student where I want to help people. I love that you guys support students that have helped people in the past. I want you to help me help people. So does that make sense? It's all one giant circle of being about what you're passionate about and how you want to bring that to their campus because you've seen other students be able to do it, and then give an example. Like in your language literature classes, you guys know when you write something down, you need to follow it up with some word-cited text from somebody else to support it, right? So you would love to grab how another student has done this or a professor has done this to back up what you're saying in your essay, if that makes sense. So yeah, awesome. I'm gonna go to another question. So have you ever felt underrepresented at Penn? If so, then how do you deal with moments of prejudice? And I do think as a woman of color at any of the Ivies, any of the top universities, There's not that many of us. I've been in many classes where there's only one Black student and it's me, or 5. And it is interesting, especially if you don't come from a university you don't come from a high school that looks like this, a PWI, where it's predominantly white. I do think Penn is extremely diverse. Like if you walk through the campus, you see all different types of races. And we are 10% Black, which is 1,000 kids. We have 10,000 undergrad. Some of the other universities can't say that. Dartmouth, definitely not, does not have that many Black students. But I do think that they do an amazing job at having Black, Hispanic, low income, first generation students come to the school early and meet one another. We're given resources, we're given opportunities to be able to mix and mingle, to feel more of a community feel before you even get to campus. So that's something that all the universities do that definitely help you and kind of hold your hand when you transfer in and you already have so many friends. And I'm not a legacy student, and I know a lot of the other Black students at my school aren't, but we felt as though we already knew so much of the school because Penn did an amazing job with helping us before school even started, with knowing where things are located, or just having friends already and meeting academic advisors from before school even started. But there is times when you do feel moments of little microaggressions or racism. And I think making sure that if something happens, to have close friends to be able to talk to about is so important. And also you're paying for these programs and community centers that Penn has lined up for you. So taking advantage of them. And this is for anything. If anybody deals with anything that hurts you mentally, every school has places that you can go to talk to somebody, to receive help, that many students don't take advantage of, but we're paying for it. And they're great help, and you should locate them when you get to school if you can find where on your campus you can go to talk to people, whatever your schools might be called. I don't know the exact name for each school, but making sure that you take advantage of the resources that the school has. And in terms of like the minorities, we all have cultural houses on each campus where like Black, Hispanic, Asian all congregate in these kind of living room type setups where there's free food and free printing and a ton of kids just laughing and just very community family feel. So looking where those are on your campus and making sure that you're aware of where they are to go when you feel like you need to be around people that look like you, because sometimes that's what you really need to just get through the day, is maybe just being around people that are like you. So that helps a lot. And I hope that answered that question. Awesome. So another question is, let's see, can you talk a little bit about how to best avoid graduating with a ton of student loan debt? I would love for Queen Star to take this one because this is kind of Queen Star's avenue. So if you want to go crazy on this one, go ahead.
All right, y'all. If you remember nothing from this conversation, try your best to avoid student loans, okay? So let me tell you what I realized that would be most helpful for you. A lot of people do not apply to scholarships with essays. Why? Because don't nobody want to write an essay. Like, I don't want to write an essay. I'm sure you don't want to write an essay. So definitely focus on scholarships that have essays, okay? Because a lot of people are not going to be applying to scholarships that have essays. So right now, start searching for scholarships that have essays and start writing those essays. I know most of y'all are home. It's about to be Christmas and Thanksgiving. Nobody's going anywhere. Find these scholarships and definitely start applying for them, okay? One thing, a lot of people don't know, if a school gives you the first financial aid package, this is a hot tip, a lot of people don't know this, you can actually appeal that financial aid. So if they come to you and they're saying, we can only give you $5,000, go back to the school and say, I don't know who you think I am, but I cannot pay this $5,000. The $5,000 is not going to work for me, boo. Go back to them and tell them, hey, and don't just go and just say, oh, this $5,000 doesn't work for me, and then just like stare at them. No, give them actual documentation of why this doesn't work for you. And so try to appeal your financial aid packages if it does not if it does not fit what your family actually needs. Please complete the FAFSA on time. A lot of people wait till the last minute to do their FAFSA. Complete your FAFSA. You know why? Your state needs you, especially, I don't know, it seems like a lot of people are from different states. A lot of states have deadlines where you don't get state grants anymore if you apply for the FAFSA past that date. I think in Maryland, I'm based in Maryland, it's March 1st. Please get your FAFSAs in on time. A lot of schools need your FAFSA in order to determine the money that you have. Look at Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They have really good scholarship programs. It's very competitive, but if you've heard of them, apply for them, especially if you're coming from a low income background, or sometimes you don't even have to be low income. Your parents just don't have money to pay for you for $60,000 for school. So definitely look at these scholarship organizations that are willing to do that. Once you get to school, this is different for different people. Try to work while you're at school. Try your best to work while you're at school. Take those work study jobs. Definitely do that, because it's going to make your life a lot easier when I worked 4 jobs in college. I highly do not recommend that because it's emotionally stressful, but definitely try your best to manage both working and your class load, because it's helpful. Try your best to take federal loans before you take private loans. For the life of me, please don't take private loans if you don't have to. Whatever the federal government gives you, if you have no other option, take what the federal government gives you before you go to a private loan. The federal government is much more helpful with loans than a private loan. If Sally Mae calls you, do not pick up that phone. Sally Mae is the devil, okay? Like, they are private loan companies are not great. Try to stick with the federal government. And definitely when you get your financial aid package, reach out to people and reach out to the school and let them actually make sense of it for you, because some of them might hide loans in there and you don't realize that it's actually a loan. You think it's a scholarship, you think it's a merit aid. Sit with a financial aid person and let them ask them questions. Is this a loan? Is this a grant? Do I have to repay this? Okay. So you almost have to be your own lawyer in this, because at 18 years old, you do not want to get into large amounts of debt that are going to take years to pay off. So always go federal loans before you go private loans. Federal before private. Always look at subsidized before unsubsidized. Okay. So subsidized means they're going to pay off your interest. The government is going to pay off your interest while you're in school. Unsubsidized means they're not going to. So definitely remember those things, and apply for scholarships while you're here that have essays, because nobody wants to write an essay and you'll be the smart one that applies for it. All right. And look at your local community. Look at your state, and just say, hey, I live in Florida. What are Florida state scholarships? Or whatever city you're in, literally Google it, because it's your local schools or your local community that you're going to win most of your scholarships from, versus these national scholarship programs. So try your best to not get into debt. Always advocate for yourself. Always read the fine print. Always get an adult in the room to help you know what you're signing up for. And if you can work during school, please do so. That was very long-winded, but I hope that was helpful.
When do you recommend we start, when do you recommend we start like looking for scholarships? Because I'm a junior, so like how early is too early?
I say junior year is when you should start looking. Yes. Because a lot of them, especially the summer of your, between junior and senior year, that's when you should be having most of your like essay, like what I realized is that essays I have a whole course about this actually. So this is what I do. I just talk to students about like how to apply for scholarships. So the big thing is most of scholarships are going to be in specific buckets, like challenges you overcame, what do you want to do with your career? Actually just have basic essays that it's just kind of like the bones of it. And just have a basic essay that you write about the challenge you overcame or what you want to do in your career and why, because most scholarship essays are going to fit in that bucket. And so once you do that, you already have that. And now you just search for these scholarships, buy these scholarship books, definitely Google like the local community scholarships. And then you're going to see that these things have essays and you've already written a standard one, and then just tailor it to that specific essay that a specific scholarship. And so it's never too early. And sometimes some scholarships you can win your sophomore year, and they'll say, we'll wait until your senior year to disperse the money because you've won, and we'll just wait until you're actually going to school, and then we'll disperse it then. So apply. And then just make sure that you reach out to them to read the fine print. And then look for scholarships that are renewable, which means every single year, your freshman year, you're going to get that money, your sophomore year, you're getting that money, junior year, senior year, okay? Because you want to make sure that that's free money that's always coming in. I did win scholarships when I was in undergrad and my master's, and most of them were local scholarships. That I was part of Delta Sigma Theta, which is a Divine Nine program, and I was part of their youth program, and I won scholarships through there, and then also some local scholarships that I found online. And so definitely do that. It's going to be very helpful. And if you're interested in like me sending you over some scholarship things, let me know. I'm happy to send it over to you. Okay. Hope this was helpful, y'all. I said I wasn't going to talk, and I keep talking, so I'm going to stop.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I wish I had this during high school, but to go along with kind of what Queen Star just said too, even going to local companies and asking if they have scholarships, that's what I did. And there was a ton of local scholarships I didn't even know about that ended up giving me money. So just asking around, asking guidance counselors, just making sure you apply, because this is free money that can help you for sure. I want to ask
I have a question
because his hands up has been for a while. So I'm going to jump over to him. Can he hear me? Jose? Okay, I think he heard me. Sorry, guys. Oh no, he froze as soon as he's going to speak. Okay. I think, oh no, completely disappeared. Okay, just go ahead.
Can I ask my question until he gets back on?
Of course, go ahead, yep.
So I go to school on the Parkway, and so for instance, like with my art class, we'll just go to the barns to like learn, and I was wondering how UPenn utilizes Philly, especially when it comes to poli-sci and economics.
It's a really good question. Yeah. I've taken 2 classes where we've gone into Philly, and it's been amazing. One's been about actually teaching high school students about the Common Application, which is kind of what's going on now. But basically we would learn in class all about the Common Application, all about mentoring, and then we would go into Philly every single week and help high schoolers with their applications. Then I also took this asthma class where I learned all about asthma and went into West Philadelphia elementary schools to 4th graders and taught them all about asthma every single week. So there's definitely a ton of classes. They're called ABCS classes. That you can add to your schedule. They're usually long, around 3 hours, but they meet once a week, and then you go into Philadelphia once a week and just help students. So if you're into mentoring, there's so many opportunities, and I'm sure this is at every single college campus where you are able to help the community. And I think Penn does an amazing job with knowing that having all these kids there, gentrifying the area, knowing that they've done a lot to the Philly community, but making sure that they're giving back to the community as well, and especially using Penn students to give back. So yeah, that's definitely something I would suggest. I would look into it at every single campus of what you can do to help the community, because you're living there. You should go out there. If you're in New Haven, if you're in Boston, you should learn about each city and help the people that's there, because it was nice of them enough to let us go to campus there. So yeah, Jose, I'm gonna throw it back to you. I know your camera froze, but you've had your hand up. Oh, no, it keeps freezing. You might have to type your question. I'm so sorry. Every time you speak. Okay, we're gonna have him type the question and go back to him. I'm gonna go to another hand raised. Let's do Ariel.
So my question has a bit to do with like the aid and stuff, but can you hear me? Because my computer is okay.
Yeah, you're good.
But I'm a first generation college like applicant, so I was wondering if you have like any advice going into this. And I also have another question. I guess I could ask it after.
Okay, yeah. Queen Star, do you want to hit that one?
Yeah, so first generation. Okay, so there are a lot of organizations that are very helpful. How many people are juniors right now? Just like raise your hand if you're a junior. Junior. See who are seniors? Like y'all are about to go. Mm-hmm. So for the juniors, look at Questbridge is a really great program, and they partner a lot. I see somebody shaking their head. Hey, Jacob, I see you shaking your head. He seems like he knows Questbridge. So Questbridge is a really great organization where you can partner for a lot of, they partner with really big schools, like most of the Ivies are there. And it's one application, and you know, all of these, you rank the schools that you're interested in going to. And it's a really great program as a first generation. It kind of just helps you make that process easier. Another really great program that I like is Posse. Posse is really great. Posse Foundation is really great, but they're only in specific cities. And it's the whole concept of Posse is cool in that they're going to partner with specific schools, and then groups that, like, it's a whole bunch of people from your city going to the same school. So you come in with friends already, and you already come in with, you know, basically a posse, like your whole little crew, y'all going to college together. So it's really great. So I like Questbridge, I like Posse. There are some that are, I'm blanking on, but I can circle back with Domonique to send it out to you guys. First generation students, my parents were born in Ghana. I was the first one to go to college here. So I was essentially a first generation. It is very, very confusing to know what to do and when to do it. So I want to like give y'all virtual hugs because it can be very confusing. Find an adult that you know, an adult who's going to college. And if I'm the person that you know who's gone to college, just ask me for my email. I'm happy to help. You have to have someone to tell you when to do things, and find that trusted person to kind of guide you along the way. In the summer, already have a calendar of when you're going to be doing things and when, because for probably the people who are on the call right now who are going to be going to college next year, between August to December, or maybe sometimes to January, you hate your life. And I'll tell you that now, you're going to hate your life because you're juggling senior year, you're juggling applications, you're probably juggling sports. Try to do everything the summer before your senior year because it's going to make life so much easier. First generation too, a lot of people don't think about the hidden costs. Application fees are expensive. I come from a family when if I tell my parents, oh, I need $50 for something, it's about to be a fight the whole day. You know, like some parents just don't like to be sprung upon with these like costs, you know? So really try to know what the application costs are so that they're not surprised by the time it's October and November and they have to do these application fees. So the summer of your junior year, do not waste it. Junior to senior year, start planning these things. Have the schools that you're interested in and start doing the research. A lot of things are virtual this year. Go to a lot of virtual college fairs, right? And bring your parents along with you because they are going to stress you out if they don't know what you're doing, you know? So try to keep them in the loop at all times. Find an adult who's really going to help you in the process. If I'm the only adult you know, as I said, I'm happy to send you my email. And Domonique, I'm sure, will send it as well. And really try to get everything done the summer, and find an adult to help you, and really look at these programs that are for first generation low income students. And some schools have a specific person to help first generation students. And so really, if you're calling the schools, just say, hey, do you have an admissions person that's for first generation students? And most likely they're going to point you to someone who's going to help you. So don't feel alone. Just know now, September to January, you're gonna hate your life. Be okay with that. You know, you're not over 21, so I can't say have some wine, but like, you know, drink some hot chocolate, have that on deck or something. That's gonna help you.
I also want to add to that, you never know unless you ask. So even with admitted school days, which I'm hoping to God for seniors, but definitely by junior year that you guys will have, or juniors, you'll have admitted school days. But if you email the school and tell them like, I can't pay for a plane flight to the school, but I would love to go to admitted school days, they will help you. They will give you money. You need to just ask. You don't know how much you can get if you don't ask. So even just shoot your shot. You might get it, you might not, but at least you tried to to everything Queen Star said.
Especially first generation, if you're immigrant or anything, like our cultures don't show us how to ask for things when we need it. And you almost have to deprogram yourself to always raise your hand up when you need help. So don't be afraid to ask. And this is a really great lesson to learn really early on, because you're going to always need to ask people for help as you get older. And why not learn that lesson now at 16, 17 years old?
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, awesome. So we are running over time. So I'm just going to do 2 more questions. And then I actually have a poll to ask you guys. And then I think we're going to have to wrap it up for today. So I'm going to go to Jose's questions. He said his Wi-Fi keeps going in and out. But his question was, I wanted to shift the focus of the question and wanted to know what made you choose Penn. I understand it's an excellent school for business, but what makes it different compared to the other schools, which is a great question. I think that Penn is the best Ivy. Like I told you guys, Queen Star went to Penn too, so she probably agrees. All the schools are amazing, obviously, but what I think set apart for Penn is definitely having to do with the location. For me, like I said, I was from a small town with more cows than people, so I wanted to be in a city. I do think all the Ivies have the same, not the same, but definitely have excellent education levels. So I did want to look deeper than just the education and look at the social life. Penn is definitely work hard, play hard, like everybody says. I do think that holds true. Students are doing homework until Friday at around 5, and then we are done. We are having fun. We're letting off steam, which is definitely the environment I wanted to be in, to know that these kids, I might see them out at a social event, so like having so much fun, but the next day in class, killing it, raising their hands, sounding like Albert Einstein. That's the environment I wanted to be in. But on top of that, I think with Wharton itself, you learn the same thing in undergrad comparable to what they learned in the MBA. And that was something that I definitely looked into, because I don't want to do, as of right now, I don't want to get my MBA. So I definitely wanted to go to a school where I was going to learn similar things from undergrad. So that was something that I loved. Also, Penn makes students stay on campus for 2 years, but then you can, which they just added, it wasn't 2 years before, but now it is 2 years. And then you can do 2 years off campus, and not every school does that. I wanted to be able to have an apartment by my senior year and kind of understand how apartments work and how paying rent works, and just feel like an adult while still in college, which is something that I liked as well. So those are just a few of mine. Also, Philly's an awesome city, and we're 2 hours from New York. So I'm not like at Columbia, smack in New York City, but I'm close enough if I want to go, but still a little bit quiet at Penn. So yeah, that's kind of my answer to that question. And I'm gonna do one more for today. Let's see. Oh, what should I do?
Good.
Uh-oh, is somebody speaking?
Yeah, hi,
Oh, go
it's
ahead.
me.
Mhm.
So I'm an international student actually. I'm from Ghana. I live in Ghana. Hi guys. I wanted to know, because I know you've talked to a few international students who look on your YouTube channel. Like, could you talk about maybe from their perspectives, like what it was like at not necessarily an Ivy, but like an American college and stuff?
Yes, Queen, so you can probably touch on this too because your parents, but from my perspective, of the people that I've met who are international, a lot of them said it's not what they expected. That's one of the first things that they usually say is, wow, this is different than I thought. I know that a lot of them have had massive culture shocks, but most of them don't say it in a negative way. And they are really happy that they did choose to go abroad. A lot of them do bring up the fact that in order to go home, the plane tickets are much more expensive than obviously people living in Vermont or New York. So going home, you have to plan, you have to buy a ticket while it's still cheap. So you might have to plan a lot more ahead than other students who will just go home on a weekend while you can't. And a lot of them deal with homesickness, and definitely have talked about how not having a social security number has affected their opportunities with getting jobs. Even I have some friends that have had difficulties with getting on-campus work study jobs, with getting paid because they don't have social security, or getting an internship. So I know there's been some difficulty there that has been brought up to me, but a lot of them definitely find other international students on each campus and kind of have an international bubble, which I didn't think that's what was going to happen. I thought I would have a ton of international friends, and it's not because they're not social, but you want to be around people who are like you, and being around a ton of Americans might not be your favorite thing all the time. You probably want to be around people who you grew up with. So their core friend bubble seems to be international students. Is something that I do observe, and friends have told me, but I have a ton of international friends who do love their school from all different schools I'm speaking about, not just Penn, who do love it here and are happy that they came, but definitely expect some culture shocks for sure.
Yeah, I would say the one thing about Ivies is that everyone from around the world is applying. Right. So you're going to find people who are from different countries. At Penn, I did this program called ILP, and it was like so amazing in that it was for international students, first year students and all of that. And it was so cool. It was just like a mini United Nations for a weekend, and we went on a cabin trip. And so what I do love about Penn specifically, and my cousin went to Harvard, so I know that they do this at different schools, in that you will find your community. Being from home, being far away, sometimes you can be in the same country and feel like an international student. If you're from California, you're going to school in Boston, what is snow, bruh? Like, that's international to me, so international can mean a lot of different things, right? And so I think the one thing is college, college is really what you make it. Even as an international student, even if you're 2,000, 24,000 miles away from home, you're going to find a community for you. The big thing I would tell any single student once you're coming to college, it's almost like you have to come in as an empty cup and open yourself up to all the possibilities. I think so many times as international students or students whose families have a lot of pressure on them, whether you're first generation, first in your family to go to school, or you're an immigrant, there's so much pressure on you to succeed that sometimes you beat yourself up when things don't go your way. I have a cousin who went to Harvard undergrad, always said she was going to go to medical school. She's in her 4th year of medical school, and guys, she hates it. But her whole life, she focused on this one specific thing, and that's the only thing that she told herself she wanted. And that's what I would tell you is the opposite of what you should do when you come to college. Open yourself up to all the possibilities. Don't say no unless you're like absolutely sure. Like if somebody comes up to you and says like, let's do cocaine, say no. But like, like that's dumb. Don't say no. But really open yourself up to all the opportunities that are going to be open up to you. Because most of the yeses that I said and I was unsure about were some of the best experiences I've ever had. Always have your gut, like always know that in college, there are people who want the best for you. Follow the path of the things you're curious about. Don't come in with one idea, I only have to do this. And know that it's really an adventure. It's almost like you get to what's the place where roller coasters are? Amusement park. You come to an amusement park. College is like an amusement park, and you figure out what roller coaster you want to be on. Maybe you want to be on the kiddie rides because you don't like the, all the hoopla. Or maybe you love, these high adrenaline things. That's how you should think about it. It's an adventure. And so come in there, take the different internships, go on the study abroad trips, do the different things that you're interested in, but don't come in here fixated on, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, because I'm telling you, life is going to change. You just have to make sure that you get those experiences along the way. And as an international student, you will find your community. One thing I will tell you for sure as an international student, take as many internships as possible, because your visa, a lot of my friends have to go back to their country because visa restrictions after, because they didn't take the internships. They would always go home for the summer. Maybe decide one year I'm gonna stay here and take an internship, the next year I'm gonna go home for the summer. Really try to make sure that you get those experiences in, and look for companies that are going to sponsor you to stay in the country and do the job. And so that's something to be very, very, very aware of. And it's going to be helpful for you. Don't be scared. For all the seniors right now, I know it kind of sucks. It's going to suck for the next 6 weeks, but I promise you, senioritis is going to be hitting you so hard. Come like February, you don't even know what to do with it because you work so hard during this time. And juniors, just pace yourself. Use the summer wisely. It's going to be a tough year because of Corona, but definitely pace yourself. Know that there are so many people cheering you on. Don't be nervous. You got this. You got here already. You survived all of the worst days you thought you had, and you're still here. And that's how you have to look at the future. You can keep striving and keep going. So I'm done giving my little Oprah talk. That felt good. Got it off my chest. But
I have a quick question for you, Dom. Actually, I'm sorry. I know that's like overtime and everything, but I have a when you did the college board and everything, you were talking about how you found your friends from like Facebook groups and stuff like that. And then I want to talk about how you did that stuff because you haven't touched base on it yet, but I want to like know how you did that because I'm a person, I don't use Facebook. I want to know how that goes, how you did it, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. And another thing I have to say too is the girl from Ghana, I'm Ghanaian as well. Make sure you eat your last whole meal food before you come here because the food over here is
Yes, the food. I've heard that too. I heard our mangoes are just horrible too. So maybe it's something. But yeah, so that's definitely a great question with meeting people. And I know that's hard because of COVID too. If you're on campus next year, it might be harder to meet people. But I think group me's more than Facebook is what my year did. And kind of how the group me worked was I just received a DM on Instagram. And I think whoever decides to make it that year, and it could be you, maybe you want to be the person to make it. And I remember when I got to campus, the girl that made it was like kind of famous because we were like, you made the group me. And she was like, that's me. So you can be the person to make it. But basically I got a group me invite or a group me message on DMs and said, hey, like you got into Penn, do you want to join the group me? And it was like so many. It was like class of 22 group me, Black Ivy group me, then Black Penn group me, girls Penn group me, so many. And making sure that you can even just go through the pictures. And if somebody looks like they are intriguing to you, looks like they could be your type of friend, message them, say, hey, how are you? Like, I would love to be friends. Go ahead. Did you have a question?
From my understanding, you just download GroupMe, or did you get invited because it was in your bio? Like, I don't.
Yes, yeah, great question. So usually what happens when you get accepted to a school, what the trend seems to be nowadays is to put it in your bio. It is usually, I think I was added to the group me after decision day. So when I was like, okay, I'm going to Penn, I already paid Penn, not when I'm still choosing between schools, put it in my bio and then follow the Penn page too. And usually they have like a class page. So there was like a Penn 22 Instagram page. I followed that. And then I think the kid that made the group me went through all of the followers and messaged, DM'd every single person.
Okay, because I was just thinking, I was like,
how do they find you?
Yeah.
Great question. Yeah. They find you. I don't know, but they found me. Just try to join everything. Join the Facebook page, even if you're not on Facebook. Join that. Join the Instagram page, and then when you get added into it, make sure to like introduce yourself. Even if you're introverted, you can say one thing. You can secretly message people on the outside and get to know people to just build that community before you come to campus. I think is really important for sure. But okay, awesome. So I just kind of wanted to end with some tips, my last tips that I have, and then send this Zoom poll out to you guys to see your thoughts on some things. But some of the last tips I have is if you've seen my acceptance video, I did not get into all of the schools I applied to. Luckily, I did get into Penn, which was amazing. But I think everything happens for a reason, and getting rejections suck. And let me tell you, it hurts. But everything happens for a reason. And I truly do believe if one person says no, it's opening up a yes in the future. It's opening up another door that maybe right now you won't see, but know that you did nothing wrong. You're still awesome. You're still gonna kill it, even if you don't get in to a certain school. They weren't for you. That's their loss. You go kill it at a different school. So don't be too hard on yourself, especially with SATs, with the AP tests. Don't be too hard. It's all going to work out. Just keep trying your best and keep doing what you guys are doing. Being here right now is you're doing everything you can. You know what I mean? You're taking advantage of all your resources. So just make sure to keep taking advantage of resources, and everything else is up to God, and everything will happen for a reason, and you will be just fine. So yeah.
Can I just make a suggestion for your YouTube channel?
Sure, I'd love to hear.
So for me, I've been confused on like what type of school, like for UPenn, what school to apply for, because I want to like be a part of the pre-med. So can you like have it like an insight into all the schools at UPenn, like the School of Nursing, the School of Arts and Science, all those schools?
That's great. Yes, I can definitely do that. I know a lot of students that you see on the Common App, it asks you which school to apply to. They don't even know what it means. And some just clicked Wharton, not even knowing that was like the business school. So I definitely think that's a great idea. And I'll look into that for sure and try to get that done. That's very smart. Awesome. So I'm going to send out this poll to you guys, and this is just asking you some questions. I've never done this before, so tell me if you can see the poll. And it's just asking you, how much is college hacks, school-specific facts, and advice from me and other college students, if I were to bring them onto a platform, how much would that be worth to you, in your opinion? And this is all anonymous, so answer honestly. And give it a few more seconds. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna end it. Amazing. And then I have one more poll. Or actually, yeah, I actually wanted to just open the floor to just ask too. You don't have to say this right now because I know we're over time, so you can just put it in the chat of just anything else, kind of like what was brought up before, of that, what you would like to see, what you feel like you're missing in your college search, you don't really understand, anything else that you would like me to bring to my channel to potentially help you be able to have an easier time with applying. And to finally finish off, this is not the first, or this is the first, but definitely not the last Kickback Live. So I do have all of your emails, and I'm gonna add you to a listserv where I'll have other people to come speak. We'll have specific topics that we're gonna address, even breaking down common applications, reading supplements, reading essays. So if this is helpful, I would love to know your feedback, what would help for the future, to make it easier for you guys. Any suggestions that you have, just leave that in the chat, and I'm gonna save the chat and go through them all and just plan for the future. But yes, thank you guys so much. If you've already left your feedback, you can feel free to end and leave. But yeah, best of luck. If you guys don't want to come again, it's totally fine. But if I don't see you again, I wish you the best of luck with your applications. You got this. I hope I see you all applying to Penn. But other than that, thanks, guys.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Dom.
Did somebody speak? Hello? Did somebody
Hello?
Speak? Hello? Yes, hi.
Yes, can I ask what's your name on LinkedIn? I can't find you.
Of course, it's under Domonique Malcolm, so that's why I can message it to you right now. It's under my last name.
Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for this. This is fun.
Would it be possible
Bye.
for me to ask a last second question?
Sure.
My question was like, you have any tips for the after submitting application, after interview period of just waiting for decisions and to not be stressed?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me tell you about waiting. I definitely think that it's going to happen. You're going to be stressed. It's like with getting anything else, you're going to have to deal with the stress of not knowing. Kind of how I did it was I tried to forget about it. I put it behind me. I did everything I could. Nothing you can do, right? So now you just have to wait for the results. So I tried my best to just finally breathe, finally focus on my friends. You're going to leave your friends, right? You're going to college, unless all your friends are going with you, which would be really cool, but you're going to leave your friends. So now it's time. I've been spending so much time on college applications. Now I'm going to enjoy my high school year. I'm going to enjoy the last time I'm with my friends. I'm going to enjoy the last time I'm seeing my teachers. I'm going to have fun, still get good grades, of course, because schools can take back acceptances if you don't get good grades, but make sure that you are now enjoying school. If you play sports, if you're in any clubs, making sure to finish off your high school career strong. And then I had a countdown of the days, and each day I would be like, one day closer, check off. And just, it's an excitement instead of a stress. It's kind of how I looked at it, and just keep day checking off, enjoying high school. And then you'll get your results when it happens, but just making sure to stay calm, I think is the number one tip, because you already applied. There's nothing else you can do. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that did. Thank you. And also, like, for that part of like focusing on my friends, I totally not even thought about that.
You'll miss them.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness, you'll miss them so much for sure. So I think making sure, yeah, to focus on them and making sure that you know this is your chance to finally spend time with them, because right now you probably shouldn't be. You should be focusing on your application.
I mean, I don't know you, but if you want to take like a spring sport, sometimes it's a really like, I don't know, like it's just a great way to end your high school career. It's like, you know, just do a sport that maybe you don't take as seriously. And you're just like, I want to do this for fun, you know, because it's my last semester of senior year. I mean, given Corona, it might be different, but you know, do something, join a club or something that might be helpful.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome.